Let's talk about Mercedes Mone. Now, because I always mess up every time I read it, I want to say Mercedes Mone, but I mean Monet. Excuse me, it's Monet. Excuse me. I messed it up already. I always want to say Monet. It's Monet, but she had an interesting thought. You know, we're recording this before Double or Nothing in her match with Willow Nightingale. She told the Ringer many things, but also she mentioned to them that she firmly believes, 100% in her words, she is the greatest women's wrestler of all time. So as you can expect, we did an article on Ringside. Social media wasn't a fan of these thoughts. Some people were in favor, but there were a lot of people that had some funny responses. You can find that on the site. But first thoughts, is she even top 5? I mean, let alone, we know the best ever. Is she even top 5? I'm gonna throw out some names out there: Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch, Rhea Ripley, Bayley, Trish Stratus. Is Sasha even top 5? Let alone the best ever.
Well, I got her firmly at 4th on the 4 horsewomen.
Wow. Okay.
So top 5 is gonna be a problem. Look, I'm sure it's a ton of fun for her to go out there and say what she said, and I'm sure it was all by design for the reaction that she's getting. It's getting all the kind of, buzz, and I'm sure that she was hoping for ahead of her match. But if we're being realistic, I don't. No knock on Sasha. She's a tremendous performer. She's much better as a heel. Her heel work is always tremendous. Her rivalry with Bayley's legendary, but I think there's way too many names, even among her contemporaries, for her to firmly say she's the greatest of all time. I got Charlotte, Becky, and Bayley above her. I'd put probably Trish above her. Lita's in that ballpark, and if we're including international, there's plenty of Japanese wrestlers to consider. It's a lot. So for her to say that, she's made her mark on the industry. She kind of passed the torch to Bianca, who's another one that's in the conversation. At WrestleMania, they had, that WrestleMania main event. She could, hang her hat on that. But greatest of all time? Nah, sorry, not giving it to Sasha. Yeah. Despite her confidence in that opinion, don't agree.
And nothing taking nothing away from she's achieved a lot of things, especially as being an African American woman, a woman of color, and what she's done for that element of the business. But when you're having these debates and when you're talking the greatest of all time, you have to you get into the weeds on these things. And when you get into the weeds on Sasha, there's a lot of issues. I mean, firstly, her health. She's banged up all the time, and that's something that Becky deserves a lot. Charlotte deserves some credit for. Bayley, big time, durability and staying out there. That's what makes this industry what it is. That's why Ric Flair is so legendary. The guy's always there. Hulk Hogan was always there. So her durability has always been an issue. And honestly, nothing against it, because some of the people that might be in front of her the same could be set for, but she's been playing the same character for 10 years. Still doing this and still doing the same character. You could say Mercedes Mone, but she's still Sasha Banks. It's the same character, but that can be said for Charlotte. But Charlotte is a spectacular athlete. She's done some other things, those elements. Bayley and Becky deserve so much, and Trish too. Evolving their characters over the years. Becky's changed her character different times. Bayley's evolved. That's the hardest thing. It's easy to play the hits. It's easy to do the same thing over and over. It's the truly great ones who can evolve their character and change it. That's why I love Trisha's recent reign. Her douchey, I'm a legend stuff was great. And she was still in pretty good shape to be entertaining in a match. Sasha's been the same character, and then Lita maybe isn't the same athlete or even wrestler, but what she was able to do in terms of her high flying was completely groundbreaking and stuff like that. Yeah, I have Sasha at 6, 7 for me, so it's just wild to have her saying she's number 1 all time. But also in a separate interview for Us Magazine, she complained that fans on the internet are just haters. The problem is why there's this tribalism in the industry, which there is tribalism now with AEW, WWE, that they're too much on their phones, which again probably there's some truth to it, that they're not living in the real world. Again, maybe some truth, but I don't think in any industry, entertainment industry, you should be saying, the people that are paying the pay-per-views, paying the tickets, watching the shows, when your ratings and your tickets are down, that you guys are not living in the real world and you're too much in your phones. Like complaining about the people that are helping pay for you is never a good idea. Fortunately for her, she's in a world where she's a bad guy, and that's where she's kind of going. So maybe it benefits her. But what are your thoughts? Like again, is this another reason why she doesn't kind of get it and isn't the GOAT of women's wrestling?
Yeah, spot on. I think you hit the nail right on the head with that last assessment there. It's focusing on the wrong group. Like, yes, there is a vocal minority in every fandom that is, whether it be toxic, whether it be tribalism, whatever you want to call it, that definitely exists. And it absolutely exists in professional wrestling, especially with AEW and WWE. But focusing on that and commenting on that, not the smartest move, to your point, when you're trying to draw positive attention to your brand. And that's one of the major reasons they brought her on to AEW, is because she is that big name with a lot of clout and a lot of, goodwill that she could bring onto there. But if we're being frank and honest, her run in AEW so far has been disappointing, to say the least. So for her to be saying comments like that is definitely not going to win any favor for any of those that have kind of tuned her out. It's whether it's in character or not the wisest move. If you want to look at somebody who's gone about it the right way, is somebody like Adam Copeland, who has been in AEW, and even though he hasn't set the brand on fire, I don't think anybody's capable of that. That's a whole other conversation. But he hasn't gone out of his way to kind of start blaming people or start pointing fingers, and he's just focused on checking a lot of boxes and having a lot of terrific, entertaining matches. And good on him for to be able to do that and make it a part of the week to week. For Mercedes to say those kind of comments, it's not the way to go. I don't think it's going to do her any favors. It's not doing AEW any favors. I don't think that's what they signed her on for. If this is the ambassador that's going to be, if she's going to be the ambassador of the women's division going forward, she's not off to a good start, and this doesn't help her any in that regard.
And it won't get her any flack because she works for a person who's going to complain and blame the fans too. That's there's a silliness of it, and I think you nailed it, like just how underwhelming her run has been. And in these interviews, she's talking about, I feel freedom and all these kind of things. We're seeing why they kind of try to like a coach, just you play to the strengths and away from the weaknesses, because she has clear weaknesses. That's another thing. Like again, getting into the weeds on the GOAT talk, like her promo skills, same thing. But like, it really has. AEW has badly exposed her promo skills. It's been doing the same thing for like 10 years. The only difference she did in like 10 years was ha 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 laugh. That was it. That's all she's done. Like Bailey, Becky, Charlotte, they're all way better promos. Rhea. Rhea's a way better character and performer, so many levels above her in a short amount of time. It's just absolute silliness.